So for this assignment, I decided that I was very inspired by this one whenever I was creating my grid layout. Whenever I was going through, I was choosing my typefaces. That's the very first part I always start with. Um, what I thought would look well with the grid, and what I also noticed with this is I went with a serif and a sans serif. For my sans serif, I chose Tahoma at first, but then I noticed that it didn't really have a good contrast. Easy to, it wasn't very legible, easy to read. So I decided to go with Tahoma Bold for this. Um, Toned down the size, um, pulled back on the kerning, touched it up a little bit, and then once I got done with that, I worked with I believe this one is Escula Puta, if that's even correct, but I went with that. Try to keep it not so much, like too much bigger than 30 or too much smaller than 20, just so there would be a contrast between the Tahoma and the Escula. And I decided that these were two typefaces. And I went with the same idea with color as the grid on the right did. But whenever I was doing mine, I didn't feel like it came together very well. It didn't seem as structured and professional whenever I was doing my grid. But I decided that I put the black background on it. And after doing a couple variations of the grid, I finally came to terms with this one, and I started enjoying it more. I also worked with the spacing between each square. I wanted them to be the same, but I didn't want the squares to be the exact same size. That's the one thing that in this one I enjoy. I just don't feel like that's my aesthetic or the way I enjoy doing my work. And as I also was inspired by this one, by the exact same spacing between the words as the lines. And as you can see on mine, that's what I aimed for as well. But yeah, I also I just stuck with the red, black, and white. Even though red and black is a very aggressive color, I felt like for this, between both of these, it wasn't put in an aggressive way, so it's not very forceful. I felt very comfortable reading his and then looking at mine. I feel like having the dark black with the white text over it kind of creates it to not be as aggressive, but with the reds, that's why I try to stay away from putting too many red blocks on mine because of how much black there is. But yeah, that's it.